Hello, hello, hello. There we go. We got the red bar. How is everybody this evening? Running slightly behind today, obviously. Baby's in the bath, trying to climb out of the bath. We bathe her in like what's it called? I don't know, Rubbermaid, I guess, bin or whatever. But now she's getting to the point now where she's like tall enough to where she's like starting to kind of get to the stage where she's like climbing out. So it's kind of funny. Um, Good, loud and clear. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so Thursday, Thursday, Thursday. Check these numbers out. I'm not talking about the unemployment claims. I'm looking at the 24-hour pip changes. Look at these things. Another day, mostly under 100, completely across the board. Again, euro dollar down slightly. Actually, not as bad as I expected. I actually expected that to be farther down than what it actually is. Last time we had a huge unemployment claims number. That was actually much, much worse. So not actually as bad as what I thought it was going to be. But I did mention the other night in chart school, guys, I did think we could get back down to the low 108s. We actually got pretty close today. We got down to, what was the low? Like 108, like 20-ish, I think, 20, 15, somewhere around there. We had that nice Harry Potter shade that we talked about last night coming off that one. For those of you that follow Instagram or Facebook, you guys will have seen that setup there. That was one of the ones that we talked about last night. But for the most part, again, I'm pretty happy about this. 117 or 116 now, right? Down on the in 24 hours on the euro. Pound, look at this. Minus 24, plus 70. Again, not bad. Plus 86, that's a little bit big for that pair, but not crazy, right? Minus 10, minus 36, minus 76. Again, more pound strength coming in, as I mentioned before. And then pound yen up 62. So very, very happy about those things. This is sucking all that crazy volatility out, so things should be back to normal very, very soon. I try to make some updates to the 5-minute course. I'm working on an indicator. Matt is actually, I guess he sent right beforehand. I just saw it. He actually sent a test indicator across to me to help make it better. But it's frustrating. You get like super excited when you find a tool and then you adapt the tool for kind of exactly what you need. But it's not necessarily the environment to be trading the 5 minutes with all the spreads being like twice as big. Once they shrink back, then man, it'll be back to gangbusters with the 5 minutes. But it's always really, really fun whenever you find a tool and it's like, it's like, man, this looks good. Look at this. Man, this is working great. And again, you just got to find the right strike prices to match it. So very, very cool. So as far as the trade balance today goes, good for CAD, right? Didn't really move too much today. It's only down 10 in 24 hours. But again, there's a green number up there on the board. The trade balance is only, down 1 billion versus 2.3 is what the forecast was. So definitely not horrible, right? The unemployment claims, definitely higher than expected. I was thinking we'd get, I was hoping for like a 3.3, maybe-ish, 3.4. Yeah, we got 6.6. So we got a huge one, basically 10 million claims in the last 2 weeks for the first time. And just so everybody gets this correctly, because I got to say that it is getting frustrated that people are claiming, oh, look, this many people were laid off. No, that's absolutely wrong. Okay, anybody that tells you that 6.6 million people lost their jobs, more than 6.6 million people lost their jobs. All right. If someone's telling you, oh yeah, that's the unemployment, that's how many people lost. That's not what this number is. This number, unemployment claims, is the first time that a person has claimed, put in something for unemployment. Some of these people, or majority of these people, could have been laid off the prior week, and now where they're just actually getting thrown into that number because they're finally filing it. Like they took a week off, didn't file for unemployment, was trying to figure out what's going on. They drugged their feet a little bit. That happens all the time. All right, so too many people today have been like, oh, this many people lost their jobs last week. No, this many people filed for claims. It was actually probably higher than that actually lost their jobs, because not everybody files for claims, especially the first week, especially in this situation. Some people may have gotten severances, and there's a bunch of other things in there. You never know. But yeah, so more like 10.6 made it through the claims process. Yeah. I don't even know if I don't think it's accepted claims. I think it's just total number of claims in. Because, obviously not all of them get approved. It goes back, but yeah. I heard the website is acting piracy. Maybe. Could be. So that's what that number is. Again, large number, but everybody more or less expected to have a big number. So it's not like it was a surprise. I mean, we knew it was going to be bad. We were debating, is it going to be a little bit less than expected, but we knew it was going to be a big number. So that's important to keep in mind. it is what it is. Everybody knew the number was going to be big. There's absolutely no surprises, and big surprises don't move the market. It's the, the not knowing is what moves it. All right, so we got to keep that in mind. Everyone's like, well, what's it going to be next week? What's it going to be? I mean, there's only so many people working. So the biggest number this week is going to be tomorrow with the unemployment. All right, that's really. I said it all week since Monday, or actually since Tuesday when I did the presentation for Nadex. I said I knew this one was big. Don't really care. Tomorrow's news right here. The unemployment rate is really what I care about. This is the big one that I'm looking for. All right. Now it's expected to be 3.8. I think it's actually, with 10 million claims in the last 2 weeks, I expect it to be higher than that. The question is how much higher, because that's going to be the number to really hinge on. People are saying up to 20%, up to 30%. That's at the end stage of this. Remember, there are a lot of people that are just working from home. Yes, people have gotten laid off, definitely, but there are definitely people that are still working at this point. All right, so that to me is going to be the big number. Now, tomorrow morning should be interesting. We have this final services. I don't expect it to be too much of a difference. Again, the forecast on the PMI has really kind of been all over the place. Many countries were way down, and then China started putting way up. We were above. That'll be interesting. Average hourly earnings, not really that big of a change. Non-farm employment change. We'll see. I'm not as really concerned about that. Like I said, I think the unemployment rate is the biggest one. We were down to 3.5 last time. That was the last reading we had. And looking, so far after this year, you guys can see we've really been hovering at that super low area. And people are, this is basically almost at full employment. You're never going to take this number down to zero because you're never going to have the exact number of people wanting jobs, the job openings, and things like that. It's always about finding qualified people. So we're basically, you couldn't get possibly any better with this, right? Yeah. Really, nothing we can do differently. So, interesting to see how much this is going to jump, and then, how much it's going to be back again. Anybody else buffering? You shouldn't be buffering. Let's see. XSplit use a microphone. That's there. You shouldn't be buffering. I don't know. I don't see anything that's showing me lag. I'm looking across the board here. Nope. GPU is only at 24%. Memory's fine. FPS is 61, 60 out of 61. So no, I think it's okay. Maybe it's just you, Ernest. Will has finally got the Twitch hacks dialed in. Targeted. Yes, it's a very targeted virus. Best of its kind. It'll go down in the record books. Still laughing. I actually played that Donald Trump video the other day for somebody. Negative coronavirus test. The most negative ever. That was the absolutely awesome video. All right, so that's kind of what we have going into tomorrow, guys. As I said, all eyes will be on this one. This will either help or wreck the markets tomorrow. We'll see what it's going to do. I feel like it's going to, this number is going to shock people, and it's going to be much worse than expected. And it's going to basically just make everything tank. Like I said, I think that the market was expecting the other ones. I don't think the market is going to expect what's going to happen with this number. So I think there will be a bit more movement tomorrow. So looking at the scanner again, obviously another small day in the markets. Couple things are starting to come back to life. The Euro basket is starting to come back to life here, but you can see, look at this. Majors are all consolidating. Aussie all consolidating. Pound a couple things, like I said, versus some of the smaller pairs versus the Swiss and the Aussie. You're starting to see some life come back, right? And then same thing in the Aussie basket versus the pound, a little bit, right? But we've seen pound strength across the board. Again, this is pulling back. This is pulling back. We're finally starting to eat up some of the large moves we had before. And there was the CAD, New Zealand. Okay, got it. So really the only kind of setups that we're seeing right now are versus the CAD or really kind of versus the New Zealand and a little bit of, I thought it was Aussie too, but I guess it's not even necessarily Aussie at this point. So again, like I said, scanner, once we kind of had this week ironed out, I believe the scanner will really fully come back online. And as I mentioned yesterday and the day before, remember, having tools is great, but you have to understand when your tools should be used and should not be used. And in a situation like this, we had such crazy movements, such huge ATRs, everything was all out of whack. Now that it's normal, things like the scanner are not going to work because, again, the ranges are much larger, the anchors are weird, the actions are a bit strange. Zones that we're looking at are 60, 70, 80 pips sometimes when we start getting to the bigger time frames. You guys remember before we used to talk about a 4-hour zone was like 35 pips or 40 pips. Now we're going out there and it's like, yeah, that's 90 pips. Don't think I'm interested in that one. So keep that in mind when we're looking at this. This is just a tool right now that is not working. Just like I mentioned before, 5 minutes are not really the best things to trade right now because they doubled them all. right? Expecting to go 2 or 4, and now you got to go 8. It's kind of a big difference in that movement. Last week when things are moving 300 pips in a day, then yeah, then it makes sense, right? It's adjusted. But right now they're not moving that much inside of those smaller time frames. So having those spreads that big is really kind of, you know, messed them up a bit. I do have some good news. So I heard back from Nadex Compliance, so we are good to go to give away that free course. I just have to make sure that I send them the 2 codes ahead of time because Nadex definitely wants to be one of the winners. So I have to send them the codes. I do have a meeting with them tomorrow, and they got another idea for me too. I can't wait to hear what this other idea is. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so I have a call with them tomorrow at 1. I'll be able to get you guys some more details after that one. But we are go. So next Tuesday when we do the analysis session, I will be giving away the first code for the free class. All right. And like I said, there's a couple ways that I could actually do it. I haven't figured out if I'm just going to use the like a new class as a giveaway for risk, or what, or like if you already have it, make it like $100 credit for a future class, or I don't know, a couple different ways that I can do it. I'll figure the rest of that out tomorrow. But yeah, so we are good to go. Next week, you guys will get the first code, and then the week after one, you guys will get the second word in the code. I got to make it something stealthy so you guys can't figure it out. Not that I think you guys could guess it, but yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's go back into the charts for the night. Hopefully we didn't go super late tonight. It was another rough night. I got out of here. Remember I told you guys last night I had to go save the baby from mommy before mommy killed her. Whew, the baby was up last night till I think like as soon as I finally realized that she was sleeping, I looked at looked at my cell phone, and it was 12:57. So she may be 22 months old. But man, my wife thought it'd be a great idea last night. She's like, "Oh my gosh, she's falling asleep at like 8:30. Maybe she'll sleep all the way through." And that wasn't the case. When at 9:30, well, I guess like about 9:30, she woke up and then she wanted snacks and everything else, and then it was like, "Woo! Power nap, power nap." So I literally got off and she was jumping on in the bed, and I was like, "Oh God, we're in trouble." And I had to take her for like her 4th snack, and mommy was like, "I've had it. I need to sleep." And yeah, baby was she was just jacked. I mean, like absolutely jacked. Got her some pretzels, so then she tried to sleep with a bag of pretzels, and like you got to take it from her, and she got crazy. And then she was like crawling all over Melissa, was like crawling all over her head, like kicked her at one point. Yeah, so she was driving mommy nuts, and at 12:57 had finally got her to crash. So yeah, it's been a long day. Yeah, it's super early. Yeah. Meanwhile, my other kids, it's like 8:30, and they're like drooling. But yeah, the baby was just jacked last night. Yeah. All right, so let's start over the Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar only down 34 for the day, nothing crazy. As you guys can see, consolidated range, little pop, popping up, and but again, very small body candle. Look, they're getting much smaller. Again, I don't have the ATRs on here right now. I guess I could throw ATR back on. You guys can see sharp decline in this one, right? When I do this, obviously it takes some of it away, but you guys can see definitely coming back to the downside. Now, going back 14 days, right here, we're in this range right now. So we're about to lose another big one. We got about 2 more days before these 2 biggies go, and then that will really suck a lot of this ATR back down again. So, I was hoping we would have eaten all of them up, but, again, you can see this week so far, look at these candles, much smaller this week versus what we had the prior 2. So Aussie looks like it will take 1 more week for it to kind of be restabilized back to that lower level. I'm sure when Nadex sees a decrease in the number of contracts traded, I'm sure they're going to be quick on their feet to start making some changes. Because again, they're just not tradable right now. I'm going to make sure I bring it up tomorrow as well. But it's definitely dropping here. But again, going down to the 4-hour, you can see a little bit of a roll, a little bit of a pop. And for the most part, we just had a little push, a little drop, and then kind of restabilization today. So nothing crazy in here. Now looking for potential trade entries, here's where the current price is. We go back, we look for the 21. You guys can see that the 21 is sitting right up in this area. And I mentioned yesterday, this would have been a nice kind of fall, but this wick really kind of screwed a lot of it up. All right, now it ended up trading right off of that level as well and gave us the big drop. So, I mean, had you actually placed a trade and ignored that other candle, there was actually a drop trade in there today. But, typically, again, the rules are you need to take it to the distal point of the zone. Well, the distal point of the zone obviously is where this thing peaked all the way up top. But here would have been kind of a minor area that you could have got into. And again, it did give a valid trade and continued to drop all the way back down again, right? So Not a bad little, trade if you got it. It is pulling back up again. I would actually use that zone again. It was already starting to come off before the big drop. I don't think that area is too big either yet. Now you're talking about an 18 pip area, so not really a bad area. Then it would be boring again. It won't be boring again. Stop talking like that. Yeah, you guys get used to this like jacked up market. You're like, woo! Realizing that, if you can take a small one, it's just as easy. I love the possibility of financial windfall or ruin in my pajamas. Hey, I haven't been out of pajamas. And when I say out of pajamas, yes, I have changed pajamas in the last 8 days, Ernest. But what I was getting at is my wardrobe for the last 8 days, because I haven't left the house since I dropped my kids off at their mom's, because Asher was sick. So I haven't had the boys back this week yet. So what I'm saying is my wardrobe has literally been fleece pajama bottoms, a t-shirt, and a hoodie for 8 days. Now it's different hoodies, it's different, fleece pajama pants and different t-shirts, right? But I've been in pajamas for 8 days now. Just saying. Just saying. Don't even know, like, it may get to the point in 30 days where I like burn half my wardrobe and like shave my head. You know? Are you representing and wearing the KTS hoodie? No, I don't have the KTS hoodie on. I actually have like the boys lacrosse team because it's navy blue. And my KTS hoodie is a light gray. And whatever the baby touches, the baby spreads all over everything. And I don't want her to put stains on it yet. So it's kind of one of those things that I wear it when I leave the house and then change. So I'm in a navy blue one. I heard it helps you trade better. Nope. I'm trying not. It's such a light color, and I don't want like literally. I mean, she had ravioli for lunch today, and then it would just get everywhere. So go big or home. But yeah, so I mean, is anybody else out there trading in their pajamas? Like, are they anybody? I mean, like I said, I'm lucky. I mean, obviously, I work from home anyway. My wife has to go to the office twice a week to get mail and stuff for her job. Um, you're in sweats? Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's more or less, my fleece pajama pants are just like sweats, but not quite as, not quite as big. But yeah, so I mean, it's like, yeah, I have definitely been quarantined. I'm good in 14 days. I have not gotten sick so far. And like I said, I'm living in pajamas. So this is what life has come down to, is living in pajamas. Um, anyway, guys, I do like that zone up top. I think that's a good one. Again, that's what we're looking for as far as an entry. Right now, the 1 to 5 is a bit far, but there's probably going to be some orders sitting inside of this range right here. So just be cautious about it. Again, we had a retest of that area. 1 to 3 is probably okay. We'll see how it pops up. But that's Aussie dollar. Looking across at Aussie New Zealand. So Aussie New Zealand. This one has had a little bit more whip back and forth. Again, obviously New Zealand is a little bit, a little bit more sensitive. But you can see on the daily, again, much smaller day. ATR is definitely coming down on that one. You'll see in the 4-hour, really up, down, but really nothing really strong in here. So this is one of those ones we had a harder time really getting much kind of, much entries. This is where we are right now. Okay. Again, here's where price is, and this is where we were last night. So literally a pop down, really nothing to grab there, and then it pulled back up. So we're more or less in the same exact spot. Like here's where we were last night, and here's where we are now. So basically nothing in 24 hours. A little bit of a down draw, but no real entry into that one. So not much we can do there. Going to the overnight, Aussie yen, you can see. Let's load this back up. All right, so Aussie yen, you can see there is a wick over wick. The D indicator grabbed on this one, so it is pushing just slightly higher. On the 4-hour, you can see there was a little bit of a bounce that occurred again off of another wick over wick, and that was recent. But again, this one is on the 4-hour, so you're talking about 40 something pips, 42 pips. So kind of big, right? Here is on an hourly. You can see kind of where we bounced out of. Here, I'll do it this way. Oops. You can see how big that is. That's where the zone is. It's going back to kind of this little bit right here. All right. But again, would not have hit a 1 to 3 off of that one. It ran into the opposing zone. So, on the smaller zones, you weren't actually grabbing much. And again, there's a lot of them. There's one little one here, a little one here, a little one here. So kind of a bunch of stuff on the downside. Ended up just going off this top area. That's actually not a bad zone. I did not catch this one. How much space is that? It's about 13 pips. That's not a bad zone if anybody caught that one. You see the red pullback. You see the kind of the green right now. It looks like it's faltering a little bit. And it looks like this one continued to push to the downside. So with your 14 pips risk, you were up at one point about 19. So pretty much, 1.5 to 1 there already. So you would have moved your stop loss up on that one, so you could have not have taken a loss. But I don't know if anybody got this one. Good grab. I like the 1 to 3 location. If it does, and again, that's coming across. Typically, we like to have it a little bit higher, like right here. But I think we're pretty much good for this 1 to 5. And again, if we hit the 1 to 5, there's nothing stopping us on the 30-minute. I would just move my target down into this range in here. Okay, into that range. All right, and that's probably fine. That's probably it's probably a 7 to 1. You're in this one? Yeah, it's a nice little grab on this one. I didn't see this one. I basically eat dinner now and then get in bed and watch something. I've been on a big like World War II kick lately. Like I'll watch dinner and then I'll like start watching not documentaries, but I watched that Midway movie and then like a couple days ago. And ever since I've watched the Midway movie, now I'm kind of like really big into like, you know, the Battle of Midway and that kind of stuff in the Pacific Theater. I don't know why. Yeah, Band of Brothers is different. This is all the ships and fighting the aircraft carriers and the mistakes that people made and, you know, getting lucky. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. That and ants. That and ants. Just so you guys know, I found this Ant Canada show and I really got into this one fire ant thing. My wife thinks I'm absolutely insane. She's like, we're not getting an ant colony. I was like, dear, these weaver ants are so cool. But I started watching this. It's called Ant Canada, even though the guy lives in the Philippines now. Awesome. Awesome. He has one called the Fire Nation. Well, the Fire Nation is now no more, and now he has a new one called the Phoenix Empire. I'm absolutely addicted. Yeah, absolutely addicted to the, basically growing the colonies from the middle. So you can tell I've been in the house way too long. I'm watching YouTube videos on ant colonies, right? But it's awesome. I love it. I'm like totally addicted. I'm like, look at this, babe. I'm like, look at these weaver ants. They're doing this and they're bringing the cricket up top and this, and we can get, this, for to carry them. And she's like, no, we're not getting ants. I'm like, no, we got to get an ant. I've looked up like, what kind of ants I can get in the area, when the nuptial flights are. They're like, late summer for us out here. It's awesome. Should I be worried? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, maybe. Anyway, Ernest, good grab on this one. I think this one would be okay. Coming down to Aussie Cad. It's pretty cool, man. These guys have these aquariums set up, and it's pretty. I mean, I didn't realize, like, you get this queen, right? You put her in a test tube. She lays some eggs by herself. She breaks her wings off, and then she feeds the ants with, like, her, like, through atrophy. She breaks down her wing muscles since she broke her wings off, and then feeds the first couple set of babies, and they're like miniature babies, right? And then they start going out and foraging, and then because the next generation helps feed them, they're like twice as big as these nanites or whatever, or nanotites or something. It's awesome. Oh, I know. I already have birds. If I get, I don't know. I looked. Trust me, I looked. My luck, the baby would open up. There'd be ants all over my entire house. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Don't you joke. Don't you joke. And they're like, you can find ants and you can actually sell them. That's the other thing. I was like, wait, you can do what? They're like, yeah, there's actually 5 people in Maryland. Nobody has a queen right now because obviously it's wintertime. We're just coming out of wintertime. But people will actually get queens and help you set up these things. I don't know. I have a bunch of friends that do bees, but I was like, not that ants make anything worthwhile, but I don't know. I don't think ants are gonna sting me as much as bees. I got kids. Um, Aussie Cab. This one had a little bit more movement a few days ago, but pretty blunted today. And you guys can see this one kind of, again, dropped and then repop back again on the 4-hour. Biggest problem with this one is there hasn't been really clean entries. On the bottom side, there's a few targets, but nothing that I really want to get long in. Like I would not have looked from here to the left and said, yep, get long there. It just was not an area that I was super interested in. We had an area marked off here, and again, it's kind of a weird candle the way it was drawn. It ended up getting front run, it did end up hitting it. And as you can see, this one kind of steeping to the downside here. But the problem with this one is we're still at 212 pips, so it's still quite large. Like I said, I would have liked something to the downside. I was a big believer in this one coming down. I just didn't really have a great little entry. And there's a little bit of a pullback right now where it's at a little bit of an area, but not super strong. And again, getting front run. So, problem with this one, like even this zone right here, I mean, it's not bad. It was like 17 pips down on the 30-minute. But I was looking more for getting short than anything else. And just nothing in here that I just, like I said, the only pop is really here, and we never even got back to it. So, kind of a missed opportunity on this one. So I didn't really find anything with the Aussie Swiss. Let's reset those, give all those back. All right, so check this one out. Look at how small this movement has been here. This one's ATR is down to 159. This probably has the biggest bit of movement. So we're at 159 right now. At its peak, this one was at 204 or 202. So it's come down, about 20 pips so far. It wasn't the biggest move. A lot of the Swiss ones were a bit more protected, but we're really starting to eat up some of these big candles. So this one is almost back, and you can see quite the movement to the downside here. Now, on the 4-hour, really not much trending. Like, I can take this and try to make it look really, really exciting, but even then, when I make it as large as I can, it really stayed within the same area. I mean, this is a 4-hour chart, so count back 6 candles, we're in the same spot. Really no movement. Again, down and back up is what we were playing. Didn't even hit his zone, so didn't even really give us an entry, right? Here's where we are now, and when we go back, here's where we were last night. So we're literally in the exact same area. Didn't go up to anything, didn't go down to anything. It just kind of stayed within the same range. And again, total, I mean, you're talking about a 50-point drop to the downside, but there was just no entry, right? We were looking for some type of an area in here, but just were unable to get it. And again, spread of 2 coming down, but really, again, this is more just, it more looks like this. This is more pretty much what it is, just sideways movement, okay? On the 30-minute, it looks like you could have got, actually, no, you wouldn't even got in on the 30-minute. There's a black, you can see the black underneath of it. So it is close, but, like I said, kind of a funky pair. It's not anything that I would normally, 10 pip zone, so wouldn't have been a bad. And Singapore, you guys can see same thing. Kind of turning, starting the level. Again, these are some of the big candles we're still dealing with. 6 is starting to flatten out on this one. Up on the 4-hour, you can see, is there a lot here? Not so much. Hourly. There's your hourly, right? And we had drawn this small level here. I went just below it. Right? We ended up hitting it and popping right back out of it. Came out the other side just a little bit. Only went 20 pips out of that zone. So such a very, very minor zone on the one. Yeah, you guys can see it over here. Did give you another entry in it though. About 20. All right, so Aussie, it is what it is. Let's jump over across and look at the CAD pair. So again, upper end of that range, look at this ATR. ATR is really starting to come back down again, which shows us we're getting back to normal. Still 2 pip spread on this one. Okay, on the 4-hour, you can see, it basically was up today. I mean, that's all you can say is it's, go 6 handles back. You can see we have pushed forward. On the hourly, you can see that we did just bounce off of a bit of a zone and kind of push back pretty nicely. So it's already over 1-to-1 on this one. I don't think this is the one. Yeah, you needed this one to be able to do it. Again, this peak where these two are tested. So that's kind of what you're looking at. The one thing I don't like about this one is there is definitely some order sitting right there. That only gives you about a 1-to-2, not necessarily even a 1-to-3. So it's a bit close. It may break through, it may break through that zone, but again, you needed to break through a level of buyers. And typically when you're setting up a trade, you want to make sure that you have a clean running room. We don't really have cleaning running room this one. It requires us to break something to get to the 1-to-3. So it is a little bit riskier. Now, I do like the pop. I think the pop is great. It would have been better if we had fully retraced back down again, but we didn't. It kind of was a little bit short here and again, got front run, so you would not have entered this to the downside. But when it did pop up again, there was a potential entry here. And again, you're up over 1-to-1. So the trade wouldn't cost you anything at this point had you entered it at that level. But like I said, I would rate this as like a B or C type trade because, again, we have a level sitting right here that you need to watch out for. Okay, so we got to expect price is going to bounce off that zone, and it's before our target. So it's just something to be a bit cautious of. Okay, and again, the 1-to-5, if we can break down to this 1-to-3, I don't think we have any problems getting all the way back down again. Your profit target would be here, right? But the way that this retracement was formed, this candle went all the way down to the bottom of this green box. It's giving us a little bit more leeway on that one. Again, if you break through, I think we will retrace back down. But you got to get through that first hurdle, and that's the one thing that's going to make this trade a little bit kind of iffy, right? Go into CAD yen. All right, so CAD yen. CAD yen's still having some candles that are going back and forth. We're at 140, and again, it's not as bad as some of the pairs. We're at 142. Look at this. You can see this thing is really starting to tank. We're about halfway down at this point. Really starting to tighten up. Some of the bigger candles are out, and that's what I mentioned. As soon as we start eating these bigger candles up in here, this is going to crash really, really fast. So looking at it on a 4-hour, you guys can see, okay? We had a little bit of a piece up top. We're unable to get an entry on there. You can see the indicator is just drawn something on the 4-hour, and that's what it hit. Kind of a nice little pop, but no entry off the bottom. On the 1-hour, again, let me refresh those. Bam, there we go on the 1-hour. So you guys can see this thing came all the way down. Didn't really necessarily hit a zone, skyrocketed up, and then started its retracement back to the downside. So it would have been better if it would have skyrocketed into one of these two zones, but we were unable to get that high. It went just above the spacing level. And again, You could have drawn that, but not necessarily the safest area because of this green candle spike right here. Because of this green candle. That kind of messed up some of the analysis. Yeah, just kind of a holding pattern for me more than anything else. I mean, the CAD number today was, it was good. I mean, that was fine. But just really no entry to the downside. So let me leave that one here for going to. Interesting setup going into the weekend. So tomorrow I'm going to be pro CAD. I want this thing to close up top. It's interesting because we have a zone here. That's a nice zone, right? We have a zone here where the prior gap was. And we have the top of this area right here, which is right above where the gap is. So it's kind of like you have boom, boom, boom. I'm curious to see where we start up next weekend. Hopefully, I say hopefully we start. I want to get close to one of these up top. I think that'd be a great place to start next week, especially if we can go right back into the same gap. But pretty interesting, right? Here's where we closed last week, and we are within 60 pips of that same zone. So all the craziness we had this week, and then boom, we can continue to push up. We're gonna be right there. No trade right now for the CAD, even the lower time frame, but we are getting to some levels that are pretty nice. If for some reason in the overnight we can push up into this zone right here, that could be a nice little short. Okay, getting up in that zone. And again, that would be based off the yen, not necessarily the CAD news. That's not too bad. But ultimately, I'd like us to end somewhere up in here. I'd like to be messing with these three zones. Okay. Those are the Canadians. Let's look at the Swiss pair. Yeah, look at that little tiny day on this one. All right, so you guys can see ATR is also kind of falling back down again just as fast as it rose. Actually, it looks like it's kind of going faster at this point. On the daily, again, we went from high on the curve earlier in the week down to at least the middle, but actually at this point, yeah, we're definitely in the middle. So another high to low, or high to medium at this point. There's what we're dealing with on the 4 hour. So that kind of explains the stopping, right? Last night, right, here we are right now, the 21, and when we go back, the 21 is sitting right here. So we just left that area, but it's not necessarily a trade, a trade launching point. It's a 57 pip zone. I'm not really interested in taking the Swiss yen off of a 57 pip zone on the 4 hour, even though it's up. And you can see it hasn't left the area. It's in the same spot. Looks like on the hourly, there was a little bit more that you could have traded. And it didn't actually make it. You would have went 2 to 1 on that one, it looks like. 14 pip zone on that one. You were up about 30. It's up 37. So I guess not bad, right? Not bad. Did not get to its 1 to 3. I mean, still be positive inside of that, but this is more of a long target. This is not necessarily a short target. It's easy to draw it in hindsight, but remember, this thing kind of collapses down this fast into a zone before news. Or inside of some type of a spike area, that's a pretty nice pop out. So, yeah, probably if anything, the way that this kind of dropped in there, I'd say that's probably more of a long. So this is you're probably out already, not short right now. This is probably more of a long target than anything else. All right. But then since that time, it really hasn't done much. Okay. About 9-10 o'clock this morning. So yeah, that was all news based. We dropped into it, the 9 o'clock number, and then boom, market opened and. Yep, 9:30 right there. Market reacted to the news. Look, drove from 7 o'clock in the morning, pushed down. Got down here at that 8:30 is right here. Market opened, boom, all the way back up again. So just an example of the market moving to get itself in the correct position. No trade right now since that time is basically flatlined and gone dead. Problem C. No, I wouldn't play this proxy tomorrow. I'm not the best proxy to play. Let's look at the euro. All right, so. And as you can see, many days in a row, you guys can see them when they light up yellow. Many days now in a row, the ATR is also starting to turn back down again. And this is what I'm going to have to do tomorrow. I'm going to have to talk to this guy and be like, hey, listen, like right now, the ATR on this one is showing that, Euro Aussie, just in this example, right? Euro Aussie is 498, right? 498. Again, that's using the 14 period time. If I do this and change this to 7, look at that, right? Now the ATR is at 306. So we've taken 200 pips out of that by using a 7-day versus a 14-day. So yeah, that's gonna have to be something I have to bring up. Be like, hey, just pointing it out. Things are obviously going back to normal. You should, fix those spreads. Dropping this down to a 4-hour, you can see really not much movement. I mean, again, take 6 of these candles, not too much. I mean, we had this little bounce up here, and that was basically it. Here's it on an hourly. And again, I think we talked about this one last night a little bit. The problem is it's a 76 pip. So not really, I'm not taking 76 pips on an hourly. If you guys want to, you're welcome to. On a technical basis, again, we just ended up going off the 1 to 3. I think it just missed it looked like. Large runner, right? I mean, you're talking about a 206 pip move to the downside, but taking 76 pips on that one's kind of... it's there. There's a trade, but I would like to get it, back into a bit more normalcy, right? Bit more normalcy here. This actually, I guess this would have been a lower time frame when there was a smaller zone that you could have taken, and that one you would have been fine on. Let's see when that trigger. About 9 o'clock this morning. Okay, so this would have been an Aussie gold trade. Okay, so smaller zone, smaller. It was after the news too, so you were clean. It was at 9 o'clock, so you were. What did I just do? Yeah, you were fine on that one. Okay, we got 1 minute until the Chinese numbers. Sorry, I keep looking back up. I'm trying to see if the Chinese numbers are with their services PMI. So, only trade setup for this one. There's nothing sitting in this one right now in the overnight. You can see this one is also getting smaller, but again, still not interested in necessarily playing this one. A little bit of a pop, but you're talking about a zone that is... It's only 50 on that one. That one's not as bad. That one's coming down. $32. I don't like that's all wick. It did move, but wouldn't have been anything that I traded. So. $0. All right, so on the daily, you guys can see we went from kind of middle back down to the low. Pretty decent day. This one is down 91 pips right now in the last 24 hours. On the 4-hour, you guys can see as well. Now let's take this and remove this. All right, so I'll take that one off. So, but as you can see, pretty concerted effort to the downside based off the news that we had. Here you guys can see it on the lower time frame, and I'll actually drop it back down to the 30-minute. So this is what we talked about last night. We talked about having that we had a zone sitting right here, right? Indicator, I think the indicator, did it pull it off the, I think it pulled it off the hourly originally. We had a zone here. I don't remember which one of the time frames. We had a zone, but again, nice pullback area right here, right? Move it here. Here's it on the hourly. You can see it, and we dialed it down and brought it down a little bit lower. There's the 30-minute, and then the 15-minute kind of really boxes that area out, right? So we talked about it being a potential target, see what would happen. It came into the zone, and not only did it hit one time here, it came back down, and then it based in that level, which is a trigger for us saying, hey, listen, when it comes to the other side, if we can get some type of a Harry Potter, let's go with it. Now, this Harry Potter did come quite far down, okay, but it was a zone that I had marked off. It did actually come down all the way and ended up hitting the target. In most cases, it would invalidate it, but as you can see here on the 15-minute, this is a pretty clean zone. So I'll move the gray back so you can see it. It was a Harry Potter, but it did form a new level. So it was kind of like a double trade. So there was the actual Harry Potter trade. We're looking for it to come down and retouch that zone, okay? While it was basing, it formed this zone. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. You could have gotten really conservative and gone all the way up here and probably missed it a little bit, but it's the same exact zone, so it is kind of the continuation of the original Harry Potter, even though it went all the way down. So a lot of times you see this and it just kind of does this to the downside, then you wouldn't use the level. But because it came down and it based and then it exploded, it formed a new level in the same exact area. So it was a valid Harry Potter entry. It came back up, tagged it, boom, boom, you're out. Okay, nice little trade setup. This one had low risk in it. Looking into where things are tomorrow, that zone is still probably okay. It did kind of crank through it about 50% of the way. But as you can see, Can't really see it on this one. I don't know. On the hourly, I would actually like to move it a little bit higher. I'd actually like to move it probably there. Let's see what we got in the 4 hour. 4 hours not clean. Yeah, probably there. That's probably where I'd be looking at it. Again, if you want to get really conservative, you can bring it back up in here to the 10 pip range, but it's only 15 pips to take the entire zone. So probably would be best just to take it off that zone at this point. Like I said, we got our one entry and we got our target on that one. So this is looking at 109.13 to 109.29 as the area in this one to be able to take a short tomorrow. And like I said, ideally we would make sure that we'd like to be there before the news, but it doesn't look like we're going to get there. So 4 hour wise is where we're looking for news spikes. We're kind of in the middle, right? So here would be your top and here's your bottom, kind of bracketed in for this one on the 4 hour. Bottom side, you're looking at 106.97. Top side, you're looking at 111.04. A spike into either of these two zones could be a potential reversal tomorrow if that data is crazy. All right, so we just got the services PMI number in again. Chinese number looks better than expected. Okay, I don't think you guys can see this one over here. So right here. Okay, better than an expected number on this one. You can't see or hear anything. What's Wealth Builder saying? Will wins. Oh, I don't know. Let me see. Weird. I can hear on my phone app, just no video. I can see it. Oh, hold on. It's updating. I don't know. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's on CAD Yen. It should be on something else. That's weird. Hold on. I mean, it's moving. The weird thing is I'm watching Twitch right now. I don't know if you guys can hear or not. I'm watching Twitch, right? I'm watching Twitch. Weird. I'm watching Twitch and I can see the cursor moving. So I know. Hold on. I'm gonna hear what. You may hear an echo in it for a second. Hold on. Yeah, I can hear myself talking. When I unclick it, it's delayed. It's definitely delayed a bit. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I can hear it. It's delayed. I don't know. They were talking yesterday about how much traffic has gone. Oh, I'm sure it is. Saying you're watching Twitch. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching Twitch and it's moving. I am watching Twitch. Can you do a projection using Discord? I can try. Let me see. Let me see. It says I'm in streamer mode. It says streamer mode enabled. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out. I know I can do this in games, but let me see. I'm trying to figure it out right now. Yeah, right. My pajamas said that's it. We're not working anymore. Streamer mode enabled. Hold on. I'm trying to figure it out, guys. The stream. I don't know what stream kit is. What the heck is stream kit? Video? Let's see, hold on. Hold on. Nope, not there. Advanced. Q, maybe I could stream through Discord. I just don't know how to do it right now. Hold on, let me see. Maybe if I put it over here. Hold on, wait. All right, let's try this. Hold on. We're gonna try to figure this out because it's behind. It keeps actually. I figured out. It keeps doing your replay right now. It's the same information. I've drawn the same thing 4 times right now. Hold on. Let's see, how do I change? Let me change this. Nope. Copy it. Double copy. Let's do this. That threw me online. Let me see. Can I share? Problem is, I don't think it's for temporary reason. If you limit on the ghost train for 10 people, huh? Update. How do I go live? See, I'm trying to do it on the fly. um, all right. It says join a voice channel server, then press go live. So, let's see here. Q, you're gonna hear me double probably. All right, and then go live. Let's see. All right, Q, can you hear me? Q, can you hear me? All right, if you guys can hear me, go into. Maybe. All right, I think we got it. Hold on. Go into channel below. You can hear me on.